The story begins with a boy named Angus, whose mother sent him to swim in the sea, but he decided to spend time sitting quietly by the seashore. Just then, his eyes fell on a large egg submerged in the water, so he pulled the egg out of the water. He was looking at it closely when his mother came there and told him to go back home. Angus immediately hid the egg in his bucket and left with his mother, Anne. Anne was getting angry at him because Angus hadn't even tried to get in the water, let alone swim. "You are completely dry. Don't do what I tell you, you dog." Anyway, Angus said nothing, and as soon as they reached home, he went straight into the workshop. Soon his sister Kirsty returned home and asked Anne what Angus did at the sea today. So Anne told her as well that he just sat alone as usual. What else would he do? On the other hand, Angus was putting his things in the workshop. This workshop actually used to belong to his father, Charlie. Charlie was currently enlisted in the army and fighting a war for his country. Angus started looking at his father's picture while remembering him, and then he looked at the calendar to see when Charlie would return home. After this, he took out the egg found in the sea, washed it, and removed its upper layer. He was quite surprised to see a shiny blue color inside. Before the egg could break, Anne called out to him, so he had to leave the egg there and run toward the house. That night, it suddenly started raining heavily, so Angus got scared that perhaps the egg was not safe in the workshop. He immediately ran through the rain to the workshop, but the egg had already broken. He looked around to see what had come out of the egg and saw a strange animal. When he went near the animal and tried to touch it, the animal came to bite him. Then Angus realized that perhaps it was hungry. Now he quickly went to get something for it to eat, after which the animal calmed down a bit. Now Angus was lovingly feeding it, but Anne started calling him once again, after which poor Angus had to go back and sleep against his will. Then the next morning when Angus woke up, he saw that a troop of soldiers had arrived at their house. He went to meet them with Anne and Kirsty, and they met Captain Hamilton. Hamilton said that according to reports, enemy soldiers might try to infiltrate the country via the sea. Therefore, his team of soldiers would stay at their house and prepare to face the enemy. After this, the soldiers started bringing their belongings into the house to set up their workspace. Then Anne told Kirsty and Angus to go back to their rooms. Anyway, later Angus went to the library so that he could find a book about this poor animal. As soon as he found the book, he went straight to the workshop, but everything there was in disarray, and that animal was trying to chew Charlie's shoes. Angus understood that it was hungry, so he went to the kitchen to get food, but he was stopped there by the soldier's cook, Sergeant Strunk, who said he wasn't allowed to come there. Angus said he needed a little food, but Strunk didn't pay attention to him. Then Angus asked him if he could go to throw away the kitchen waste. Hearing this, Strunk immediately agreed, and then Angus fed all the leftover kitchen food to his new friend. Angus was very happy to see it eating, and named this animal Crusoe. After this, he started reading about this animal, but he couldn't get much information. In a short while, Crusoe devoured all the food, so Angus filled the trash can with water so that Crusoe could swim in it happily. On the other hand, Hamilton was preparing his men for the enemy attack. He wanted them to be ready to face an attack at any moment. Meanwhile, Angus came back, leaving Crusoe alone in the workshop so that Anne wouldn't suspect him. But later we see that a man named Lewis came to this town. Then he went to meet Anne, who was in the workshop at that time. He said he wanted to work in this workshop. Upon the man asking for work, Anne said he would have to clean the entire workshop, so Lewis immediately got to work. During this, he also took the trash can out of the workshop in which Angus had hidden Crusoe. As soon as Angus saw this, he immediately ran to stop Lewis, but Crusoe was not there. Then Angus asked Lewis who he was and what he was doing in the workshop. Angus said this is his father's workshop and he is going to return from the war soon. To this, Lewis said, "Look, brother, your father can do whatever he wants when he returns. But until he returns, I am the master of this workshop." Hearing this, Angus came out of there and started looking for Crusoe. We see that Crusoe had entered Angus's house, and upon seeing him, Strunk's dog Churchill started running after him. Fortunately, Churchill was tied with a chain, so he failed to pounce on and eat Crusoe. Here, Crusoe ran and came into the bathroom. At that same moment, Kirsty entered the bathroom, so she screamed loudly and ran to the stairs. Hearing her screams, Angus immediately understood that Kirsty had seen Crusoe, so he calmed Kirsty down and explained to her that Crusoe is his pet who came out of an egg he found by the seashore. Kirsty was still terrified, but Angus took a promise from her that she wouldn't tell Anne, because Crusoe doesn't harm anyone. On the other hand, Anne came to meet Lewis in the workshop. She had brought some of her husband's clothes with her, which she gave to Lewis. Seeing this, Lewis asked if Charlie would not return. To this, Anne said with a heavy heart that he would never return. Upon this, Lewis asked that Angus was telling him his father was going to return from the war, to which Anne replied that Angus is still a child. The truth was that Charlie had died due to the ship sinking in the sea. Anyway, then she asked Lewis for help in fixing a leakage in the bathroom. When Lewis came into the house to fix it, we see that it was the same bathroom where Angus and Kirsty had hidden Crusoe. As soon as Lewis knocked on the door, they tried to stop him from coming inside. However, even after a long time when they didn't come out, Lewis said he would complain about them to Anne. Finally, Kirsty was forced to open the door, so he got terribly scared. He nervously asked what this was, so Angus told him Crusoe's whole story. Lewis, looking at it with surprise, tried to touch it when suddenly Crusoe came to bite him. Anyway, then Lewis said that Crusoe looks exactly like a water horse. The water horse is one of the rarest animals in the world. It is said that at one time, there is only one water horse on Earth. After one water horse dies, a new egg breaks, from which a new horse will be born again. Then Lewis told them about the magical powers of the water horse, but then suddenly Anne knocked on the door. Now Angus asked for Lewis's help in hiding Crusoe, because Anne would never allow him to keep it in the house, after which Lewis agreed to help him. Then, as soon as Anne came inside, she did not see Crusoe. Although Crusoe was peeking out, Lewis handled the matter somehow. After this, Anne came out and met Hamilton. He invited Anne to join the soldiers' upcoming dinner. Later that night, Lewis told Angus that they should leave Crusoe back in the sea because that is his real home. But Angus was not at all ready for this. He said that Crusoe's real place is only with him. Soon the soldiers' dinner started at the house. Then Angus had to leave Crusoe in the bathroom and go for some work, and he accidentally forgot to close the door. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Crusoe escaped once again. Over there, Strunk's dog Churchill got the scent of Crusoe, so he started looking for him like crazy. As soon as he saw Crusoe, he started chasing him throughout the house. During this, they climbed onto the dinner table and the entire dinner was ruined. Although everyone else only saw Churchill. Poor Churchill is going to get a good beating today. Here, Crusoe ran and jumped straight into the outdoor fountain, where he also found many fish to eat. Over there, Angus was looking for Crusoe everywhere. Then Lewis told him to go back home because Anne was very upset due to what happened on the dining table. Lewis assured him that he would find Crusoe and bring him back home safely. Then Angus went back home, and after searching a lot, Lewis found Crusoe near the fountain. But now he had become much larger than before. Lewis immediately called Angus, and when Angus saw Crusoe, he also understood that now the time had come to leave Crusoe back in the sea. Then they put Crusoe in the back of the truck and set out toward the sea. Anyway, they soon reached the seashore, and finally, they released Crusoe into the water. Angus was very sad to be separated from Crusoe, but he had no other choice. That's why he decided to let Crusoe go. Then the next day, we see a man named Jimmy who had gone fishing in the sea with his friend Hugh. Suddenly, Hugh felt that some big fish was caught in their line, but as soon as they pulled the line, their boat started sinking in the water. Then suddenly, the massive Crusoe came in front of them. Seeing him, both of them were stunned. But Hugh still wanted to catch this animal because in exchange for it, they could become rich by earning millions of rupees. Jimmy did not agree with this, and here Crusoe started dragging them away from the shore. Finally, Jimmy saved his life by cutting the line, and then they saw Crusoe once again. They could not believe their eyes because they had never seen such a strange animal nor heard anything about it. On the other hand, Hamilton told Angus that his mother wants him to start training to enlist in the army from now on. After which, Angus started helping the soldiers in their work. But in a few days, he got bored with all this. One day, avoiding Captain Hamilton's eyes, he ran toward the sea. He called out to Crusoe many times, but he was not seen anywhere. Then he sat in a boat and set out to find him himself. In a short while, Crusoe came out of the water in front of him, and Angus was surprised to see such a large form of his. After this, he jumped and sat on the back of this special friend of his. Although he was quite scared, Crusoe took him on a sea tour, which he enjoyed very much. When Crusoe came to drop Angus back to the shore, at that time Strunk's dog Churchill was also present there and he got Crusoe's scent. Strunk was also with Churchill, so when Churchill ran toward the shore, he also reached there. He had never seen such a large, strange animal like Crusoe before. He could not believe his eyes even if he wanted to. Here at night, Angus told Kirsty and Lewis about his sea tour, hearing which both of them were very happy. Meanwhile, Anne saw them laughing from outside and she started to go back. Just then, Lewis saw her and he also went after her. Then Anne thanked Lewis because today, because of him, she saw her children laughing openly after such a long time. At this, Lewis laughed and brushed off her comment. On the other hand, we see that Jimmy told a reporter named Jock about that strange animal found in the sea. Hearing about this, Jock thought that through this, he could bring investors to the city because tourists would be interested in seeing such unique animals. But Hugh said that the city is fine as it is. But Jock's point was that if there is some dangerous animal in the sea, then the common people should know about it. They have every right to know. Over there the next day, Hamilton brought Anne and her children to a hilltop so that he could show them his army's preparation. He wanted to show them a demo of the weapons used against enemies. Now the captain asked his men to present a demo of attacking enemies hidden in the water. Hearing this, Angus realized that this could pose a threat to Crusoe's life. Therefore, he pleaded with Anne so that she could stop the soldiers. Anne did not understand what he was saying, and she told Angus to stand quietly. Then Kirsty told Anne that Angus was telling the truth, but Anne did not listen to her either. Here the soldiers started attacking in the water, and there Crusoe got terribly scared. He was trying very hard to escape these deadly attacks. Over there, Jimmy and Jock had reached the seashore today to take a picture of Crusoe, but they couldn't get even a glimpse of Crusoe. Then they made a fake model of Crusoe, took a picture, and published it in the next day's newspaper too. A few days later, when Strunk read the newspaper, he remembered that it was the same fearsome animal he had seen at the seashore. Then Strunk and some other soldiers together decided to find Crusoe. That night, Kirsty went to Angus's room, and then they both ran away from home with Lewis so that they could see if Crusoe was safe and sound. As soon as they reached the seashore, Angus called out to Crusoe. At first, Crusoe did not come out, but when he did, he had become wild and uncontrollable. He didn't even recognize Angus and tried to eat him. Seeing this, Angus and Lewis were surprised because they didn't understand what was happening. Soon Crusoe went back into the water, and then Angus blamed Lewis for all this because they had left Crusoe in the sea only on his advice. Here Strunk and his fellow soldiers were busy searching for Crusoe in their boat. Today they had come with the intention of killing Crusoe. As soon as they reached near the shore, they heard the sound of Churchill barking. Strunk understood that surely Churchill had seen something, so he ordered the boat to be taken in the direction of the sound. But then suddenly, Crusoe swallowed Churchill alive, and once again there was silence all around. The soldiers didn't understand what was happening, and they fired bullets in that direction. And then suddenly, Crusoe hit their boat and knocked them all into the water. On the other hand, when Hamilton received news of the firing happening in the sea, he felt that the enemies had attacked them. He immediately ordered all soldiers to launch a counterattack on the enemies. Then he told Anne to hide in the house with the children. Just then, Anne saw Kirsty and asked her where Angus was. Kirsty said he was not in the house. Hearing this, Anne got very nervous and said she couldn't leave Angus alone like this in warlike conditions. Therefore, she also insisted and set out toward the sea with Hamilton. Hamilton tried hard to explain to her, but Anne was not ready to listen at all. Therefore, he had to take Anne with him. Over there in the sea, Crusoe had become completely uncontrollable, and he picked up Strunk in his mouth. Just then, Angus reached there at the right time and tried to stop Crusoe. But Crusoe didn't listen to him. Now Angus got into the water to go near him, but suddenly his foot slipped, and he started drowning. Seeing this, Crusoe left Strunk and came to save Angus's life. He immediately brought Angus to the shore, but now Angus had become unconscious. Lewis and Crusoe tried hard to bring him to consciousness, but there was no movement in his body. Anyway, they didn't lose heart, and finally, Angus regained consciousness. Now he was very happy to see Crusoe as before. Over there, Captain Hamilton received news that they found no clue of enemy boats, but still, he told the soldiers to keep attacking in the water. Soon he also reached the seashore, but at that same time, Crusoe hid in the water again. Anne ran to her son Angus, and she was very happy to see him safe and sound. Angus tried to explain everything about Crusoe to her, but now Anne got angry and told Angus to come out of his imaginary world. But at that same time, Crusoe came out of the water, and finally Anne realized that Angus was telling everything truthfully. Hamilton was also stunned to see such a giant animal, but then suddenly, according to Hamilton's order, the soldiers started attacking in the water, so Angus sat on Crusoe's back so that he could show him the way and take him away from the soldiers. Seeing this, Anne got terribly nervous and told Hamilton to stop the attack right now. Hamilton tried to talk to his soldiers, but the radios had stopped working. Now Hamilton, Lewis, and Anne, all three sitting in a boat, went after Angus themselves. Over there, with Angus's help, Crusoe was escaping the soldiers' attack. But just as he was about to go out of their reach, the soldiers opened a net laid in the water which they had laid for the enemies. Unfortunately, Crusoe couldn't cross the net in time. Here, Hamilton's boat reached near Crusoe, and Lewis told Angus to jump into the boat. Then Angus, before separating from Crusoe, said that he is his most special friend, and he will always remember him. After this, he jumped into the water and climbed back into the boat. Here Crusoe entered the water, and then with a tremendous jump, he cleared the net directly. Seeing this, Angus and his other companions jumped with joy because now Crusoe was safe, being away from the soldiers' attack.